And welcome to the Red Eye stream. It is about 7:45 p.m. on the West Coast. We're broadcasting live from the Cascade Mountains. I'm joined here today by MC, Pinoid, and Doku. How you guys doing today? Not as good as Kamala Harris, huh?
Right.
All right, now,
Yo,
2 weeks ago.
by the way, I looked it up. It takes 7 years to be a lawyer. I just looked it up.
Okay.
I
That's
just
if you
want to
don't.
put that
That's
out.
if you don't party a year, doing doobies, right? Listening to Tupac.
Yeah, usually they say it's like between 7 and 8 years. Like I just wanted. We were having a discussion beforehand to find out how long it takes to be a lawyer, and I was pretty sure it's 8. You know what I mean? Because most motherfuckers fuck around their first year of school just taking bullshit. You know what I mean?
Well, that's one of the problems in the school system now, isn't it?
Well, you gotta take that year of backpacking through Europe. You know what I'm saying?
Backpacking through Europe, doing doobies, listening to Tupac. Oh, that's right. He wasn't around back then.
No, she's a time traveler. You see, not only is she Batwoman, she's never had liposuction. Don't let any evil person tell you that.
Come on, you know that's not the suction she uses. You know very well how she got the job that she got.
Yeah, I already saw that.
You know exactly how she got the job. You know what the vetting process was is they were lined up in a line. All the women were lined up, and the one that didn't scream when the hair got sniffed got picked. You go through, you sniff the hair. Okay, that one wiggled a little. She's out. Okay, then you come through, maybe a little touch of the hair. Kind of feel it. Ask how the legs feel. Play with the hair on my legs.
Well,
yeah, I'm putting like, yo, man, ain't it really just about them trying to get like fucking women voters and black people to vote in Wisconsin and Michigan and fucking Virginia? Like, ain't that really what this shit is the fuck about? And she's like a favorite candidate of New Yorkers in San Francisco.
No. See, the thing is, though, Pinoid, if they wanted that voter block, they wouldn't have picked her because her story about smoking weed and listening to rap music, yeah, that sounds all fine and dandy until you look at her record and how many young black men she put in prison for smoking and selling weed during her career as a prosecutor.
I don't think you understand what's going on, son. Like, legit, black women and white women who are out here protesting for BLM right now all voted for Hillary. Yeah. They don't care about fucking men being put in a... They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit.
But Kamala Harris does not have that kind of support. She does not have Hillary's support base. Okay, I'm going to be real blunt with everybody here. The reality is Hillary's support base. Her biggest 100% core fans were older white women. All right, that was a core base that she knew there was nothing she could do to lose that core base. And they're a bunch of racist pigs. Okay, you want to talk about where racism is? Right there. And if you think that core base of hers, right, translates into Kamala Harris, I think you're sadly mistaken. Now, and what's more is if you take a look at the voting, both Biden and her were running for the same office, and yet she was polling lower in the African American community than Biden was.
Yeah, they see right through her, Pinoid. I really think they do. They see right through her bullshit.
All right. So, like, I don't think, you know what I'm saying, that, like, all right. So, I've been standing here paying attention to what's going on, you know what I'm saying, with fucking, what the hell is his name? Joe Biden, right? And, like, I've been paying attention to, like, what's going on in the hip hop community and on the radio and things of this nature. And even guys like on the Breakfast Club in New York and like these super thug motherfuckers are getting behind Biden. And if you don't think that black women are gonna fucking get behind Kamala Harris, you fell down and bumped your motherfucking head. Legit.
I'm not saying that the African American women will not get behind Kamala Harris. All right, I'm saying it won't give them any real boost. The women the African American women that would get behind Kamala Harris are already behind Biden. What did it add to his campaign?
Yo, the black people who are in fucking Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, California, and fucking like all over the South are gonna get behind somebody like fucking Kamala Harris. And you have to remember, the real swing voters in this country are women, not dudes. No, like yo, the dudes don't swing vote. It's women who swing vote. Legit. Because their shit goes back.
But that is not how it works. All right, because if that was the case, all right, when it came to women, they voted in droves for Hillary. She lost.
Yes, but college-educated females voted for Trump.
No, college-aged females voted for Hillary in overwhelming numbers, 60%.
College-educated females.
Okay.
Like yo, the older middle class college-educated females voted for Trump. And I don't know why.
The poor non-educated women are the only demographic, I think, women's demographic that Trump won. Right? That's it. Not the older, but the mid, like the 30 and 40-year-olds. Right? Every other demographic was won by Hillary in the women's vote. So I disagree with you there. But Kamala Harris has too much. I think that the baggage she has, right? This is not a benefit to his campaign. I think the reason she got picked was because Biden wanted her. This was Biden's pick for her from the very get-go, right? He never wavered from this pick, right? It was someone he was going to pick from the very beginning, and he decided to go with it. And the only reason he probably used was because right now, with all these cities burning, people are now starting to say, wait a minute here, where's the law and order candidate for the Democrats? Well, we'll use her.
Who he should have picked is Rice. It would have got him the same demographic, but more upside.
Really? I don't think so.
Kamala Harris, yeah.
I don't think so.
Or Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi
Gabbard wouldn't have been a bad pick. Gabbard would have been a good pick.
Gabbard would have been a better pick for sure. Okay. But there was no way he was going to pick Tulsi Gabbard. Let's be honest.
How can he sit back and pick Kamala Harris when Kamala Harris said on national television that she believes the accusers of Biden? She believes that he harassed those women. How can she take the VP slot even with good conscience?
What conscience do you think any of these freaking politicians have, regardless of who they are? Come on.
They don't fucking care. Legit. Yo, what's conscience? Like, yo, what are you talking about? These are the most slimy human beings on the fucking face of the goddamn earth.
Yeah, you might be right. But the thing is, they used to pretend. Now they don't even care.
What do you mean they used to pretend?
When?
Bill Clinton lied. Everybody knew he was fucking lying, but he still lied. Why?
Yeah, but he
old image.
Yo, he told you he was full of shit constantly.
Bill Clinton lied, but the reality is that people hid the fact that he was being a criminal. All right? Being a liar, all right, I hate to say this, but it's true. Being a liar is not a detriment for being a president. All right, it's just not. If you want to talk about optics and lies, I mean, you can take a look at any one of the presidents and sit up there and talk about the optics and lies. And I don't care which one you're talking about. And if you want to talk about how they would do things, if you want to know what politics used to be like back in the day, just go take a look at Ronald Reagan, all right, when he was running as president for the first time against George W. Bush Sr., all right? And you see the things that George W. Bush Sr. was just savaging Reagan, all right? And look who became his VP. This is, believe it or not, that kind of stuff is normal. It really is.
I'll be right back. I'm going to grab something to drink. But Doku, throw your hat in. What do you think about Kamala?
All right, I'm surprised. MC and Pinoid haven't said this, but I'll tell you exactly why Biden picked Kamala, and it's. I said it was going to be Biden-Harris like over a fucking year ago now, and for a very specific reason. The same reason that Barack Obama, because let's be blunt, when Obama was very first running for president, they picked him for a reason. It wasn't because he was the best guy for the job. It wasn't inherently because he was a bootlicker, but it's because they knew any criticism that you could levy against him, all you have to do is brand it as racist. Boom, there you go. Easy. Easy way to defeat any fucking argument. Now you have Kamala Harris. Well, now you have racism and sexism as an immediate default go-to to just completely take the piss out of whoever you're going to debate against. So throw her up on stage. She already has the progressive stack on her side. And I do kind of agree with MC on this one. People that were going to vote for Biden, it didn't matter who his VP pick was going to be. They were going to vote for Biden to begin with. Kamala was probably not the best pick. Gabbard would have been better. I would even say, to be blunt, you probably could have gotten more of the angry black female vote by going with Stacey Abrams, if you really wanted to double down on that fucking thing. But the other reason that you pick Kamala Harris and not Susan Rice or Stacey Abrams is because she is a lockstep DNC foot soldier. She will do whatever the fucking DNC wants her to do, no questions asked. She's always been like that. Look at her fucking track record. Look at her history. She's not going to go against anything that the corporate political machine wants her to go against or support. She's a bootlicker.
I mean, she's a mattress stain bootlicker if you really want to look at it from that standpoint.
No, exactly. She has enough dirt that you can easily blackmail her. She has enough of the progressive stack check boxes that you can use that as a easy and cheap shield. And again, she's easily controlled, just like Biden. You can kick Biden out the second he's 6 months in office, and Kamala Harris will sit there and do whatever the hell it is you want her to do because she's nothing more than a fucking puppet Manchurian candidate. She is a bootlicker.
No. Okay. I don't think she's a puppet. I'm sorry. This isn't the blind leading the blind. There is a mapped out plan. And that plan involves Biden stepping down. I just don't know when. MC, I think his bet is the Democratic convention. My bet is if they win, he steps down after the first year to put up appearances.
I'm saying give him 6 months, and the reason I say Kamala Harris is a bootlicker, don't get me confused. She is nothing more than the person you put in power because you know she's gonna carry out the agenda. She is not the mastermind. She's not the puppet master. She's not the one pulling the strings. She is the figurehead you put in front of everyone that people will support.
She's a true believer. Don't discount the fact that she's a true believer.
Oh, no, you're right. She is.
Right.
She is. I don't discount that fact. She is a true believer, but she's not the mastermind. She's not the puppet master. And again, there's enough dirt on her that if you have to cut her loose, she's easy to cut loose. She's the perfect type of candidate you would want from a corporatist political party. And she's a perfect shoo-in.
She won't be so easy to cut loose if they win.
Oh, it should be really easy to fucking cut loose. All you have to do is let the mainstream media turn on her. There's already enough dirt on her floating around.
Mark my words, Doku, they're going to steal this election. They're going to use mail-in voting to steal this election.
I've been saying that ever since the idea popped up. So you're preaching to the choir.
Florida, Trump is winning by 25,000 votes. 3 counties in Florida find missing ballots, totaling 45,000. They're counting them as we speak. Oh my God!
Dude,
Biden
all you
makes
have to do, Dodge, all you have to do is go look at Orange County, California, and the 2018 midterm elections. Orange County was solid red until the last fucking hour. And you know why it flipped? Ballot harvesting. It wasn't even mail-in ballots. It was fucking door-to-door, knocking on doors. Hey, here's your ballot. We'll deliver it for you. Fucking ballot harvesting. And that is legal. They can do it. What the fuck do you think they're doing with national level universal mail-in voting? It's the same shit. They know it works. They put it through a dry run in 2018. They want to do it on a national scale now. Why? Because they know they can't win in a fucking fair election. If you think I'm wrong, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, you can't change my mind.
Oregon has had mail-in voting since before I was able to vote. So I've had to deal with it. And if you've noticed, Oregon's always blue.
Yep.
Well, the thing is with mail-in voting, this is what I actually called out Trump on this one on Twitter the other day, and it pissed me off when he was saying like, "Oh, Florida has a really secure mail-in voting system. It's great." No, Don, please shut the fuck up. Don't give ammunition to your political detractors, idiots like Adam Schiff. Absentee voting and mail-in voting are not the same fucking thing. Why? Let me give you 3 fucking really easy reasons that you can't disprove because they're factually fucking correct. So sit down, boys and girls. Let me fucking school you real quick. Absentee voting. You have to request it. And I believe it's 13 states out of the, I believe it's 43. I think there's only 7 that have mail-in ballots as their standard go-to electoral process. The other 43, 13 of those, if you request an absentee ballot, you have to give them a reason why you can't show up to vote in person. All of the rest, you still have to request it. So you know what that means? Point number 2, you're not worried about contacting the electorate or the census or any misinformation where you get 2 ballots accidentally instead of 1. Someone gets a mail-in ballot despite the fact that, you know, a U.S. citizen no longer lives at this residence. Instead, it's someone on a green card. Or point number 3, you don't have to worry about doing it on a fucking national scale when you're doing it on the state level because on a national level, we don't have the fucking infrastructure. Raise your hand if the fucking post office has ever delivered a package to your neighbor instead of you. And you're saying you want to do universal national level mail-in ballots and you think it's fucking safe and secure? You're an idiot. What the fuck are you guys on about? Absentee voting and mail-in universal vote by mail are not the same fucking thing. And I have no clue why Trump would even tweet about it. That is fucking stupid.
There's one more thing. All right. And that is, whether you like it or not, all you have to do is go back to the 2016 election. And you find out that the U.S. Postal Service illegally allowed their union workers, all right, to campaign for Hillary.
Yeah.
That's all you have to know. All right. If you think that the United States Postal Service, all right, it would never do anything wrong and would make sure that the balloting is clean, they already have a history from just the last election of tampering with election fraud and choosing the DNC candidate.
Oh, you know why? We can prove that just with this electoral campaign when it comes to Biden. The United States Postal Service, the Postal Workers Union, who the one is saying, oh, don't defund the post office, expand our budget, pay us more money? Fucking Biden. And you know another union that when Biden started talking about his own green energy idea, his whole Green New Deal 2.0, let me pander to the AOC crowd, the fucking coal miners in West Virginia and the fucking petroleum workers in fucking Pennsylvania. You want to know why? Fucking union workers. Gee, it's almost like any time that there's a government hand in something and there's a union, it seems like they have a political fucking motivation, and it's usually driven by financial and fiscal security. Yeah, let's put our election in the hands of that.
Didn't me and you just go through this with Matt earlier on? Legit, me and fucking Doku legit just told Matt Dodge earlier. The fucking like we were standing here explaining how like the New World Order isn't a real thing, right? And how like 99% of shit that like you hear about conspiracy theories about, oh man, like they picked the president and all this fucking nonsense, all this garbage, whatever. Right? The truth is that like all these political parties, like the Democrats and the Republicans and whatever, they all are made up of coalitions, right? The Republicans, you know what I'm saying? They got like, the fucking Christians and shit. They have the libertarians and the populists, which are the crazies for what they call them. They have the individuals who are like fucking MC, they're neocons. You know what I'm saying? They have individuals.
Neocon?
You're a fucking neocon, right? You know what the fuck.
I would accept the fact that I'm a paleocon. I am no neocon.
Yo, look, seriously, you like war, all right? You like blowing things up. You're a fucking neocon. You're like Michael Bolton. You're like Michael Bolton and shit. You come on here with the mustache and just start punching people in the UN in the mouth, right?
It's got nothing to do with that, Peanut.
Right. You have the fiscal conservatives, and then what you have is the fucking business people in the Republican Party, right? You know what I mean? And as you went through time, like you had Ronald Reagan was a business guy. George H.W. Bush was he was a fucking neocon type of individual. George W. Bush was elected by the Christian coalition and shit. And then Donald Trump was elected by us crazies, right? Because us crazies got on the internet and had the ability to go, hey, guess what? We got some really bad fucking ideas. And they're like, yo, let's get it done. And everybody decided that we were going to go this way, right? And that's how we got Donald Trump elected into the presidency and shit. And like, to me more all this like bullshit. Like it's not some New World Order conspiracy to like bring everything down and all this bullshit. Like I was working on a video before I came on here and shit about this type of stuff. But on top, like the Democrats though, they're like in our coalition, like it kind of works, right? In the Republican side. I mean, like, yeah, like the rest of the business people don't like the crazies, and the Christians, they kind of don't like the crazies, but on the same point, they kind of do. Like a lot of our points line up. You know what I'm saying? But the Democrats, none of their points line up. Like they built their shit out of like the blacks, the Spanish, homosexuals, LGBT motherfuckers, and shit. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, and fucking women's rights people. While like the thing is like black men, Hispanic men, and gay men, fucking, aren't interested in giving women free shit, right? Like the black men and the Hispanic men hate the gay man and the lesbians and the transsexuals. Like so, like it's all based on fucking like nonsense, and their shit doesn't work, and this is why like they lose elections, is because of the fact that like they're completely out of their goddamn mind, and they don't all agree on what the fuck it is they're goddamn doing and shit. And that's the problem with where they are. Like Joe Biden is the whitest male since Anderson Cooper and shit. Like him and Anderson Cooper are kind of like Rockefeller. They're like fucking albinos and shit.
Well, okay, so my theory, well, it's not really a theory. My stance on Biden is the same stance I had with John McCain when he came out with the tumor. Retire. You're done. You've been in government for how many years? And now you're losing your edge. Retire.
Well,
and now... Go ahead, MC.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, no, and now Biden is just gonna struggle on, hope he fucking has it all rigged and he wins, and then he's gonna go and retire. Right. Because he can't run the country. We all know it. He can't run a press conference. Okay?
Well, and that's why I don't think that the DNC is gonna put him out from a you think that he's gonna do a debate with Trump? Do you really think that he even has the capability of doing a debate with Trump?
I think they'll just do like a puppet thing. Like, like they'll make his mouth move with mechanics. And pre-recorded.
The guy has lost it a long time ago. It's criminal in many ways, as far as I'm concerned, what the DNC is doing, using him, all right, to make the farce look like it's an election. But I I really think that the DNC has the same problems they had running when they were running in 2016. And Pinoid is partially right. The crazies, as he put it, all right, we're able to utilize, the new media. All right, but the reality is that the media has lost it. The media cannot control the narrative like they used to. They don't have all the levers of the narrative power right now, and they're trying to gain it back. They're trying to work with these Facebook and Twitter and these other groups to try and gain it back, but it's too late. It will never go back to the way it was. Their power, their total control, all right, on that kind of power is gone. It's been broken, and that's why they keep getting crazier and crazier and crazier, because it makes them angrier and angrier and angrier. Look at what they're doing right now. Is there anybody? All right, I've seen a lot of different things. There is no way, I can tell you right now, there is no way Wisconsin right now is in Biden's corner. They're not. All right, and to say that they're 5 points, Biden's 5 point ahead in Wisconsin. Where? Show me where. All right.
Well, who the fuck are they polling?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is when you look at the demographics of who they're polling, they're assuming a 10% edge, 10% more Democrats than Republicans are going to vote. They're making that assumption.
Again, who the fuck are they polling? Have you ever been polled?
I have not been polled. No.
I have never been polled. And MC's old, right? And I'm getting old. Neither one of us have never been polled. All right? You know what that means? That means that they can't reach the average motherfucking voter.
Yeah.
Like, legit. They're taking sample sizes of like 20 people in fucking Brooklyn and then just like applying it to everybody the fuck else. That's not how this shit works. And nobody actually has a landline. I don't know if anybody's seen a phone book recently, but you remember phone books? You used to put them underneath of you to prop you up so you could eat spaghetti at the big kids table. Now you're gonna have to get 75, 80 of those bitches. They're like Playboy magazines and shit at this point. Because nobody has a fucking landline anymore. How the fuck are they contacting these people?
Oh, dude, you know what's fucking funny? I like pointing this out and take it with a grain of salt because it's Twitter polls and you're going to end up with echo chambers. That said, keep that in mind because this actually is more important. The fact that, if you're staunch MAGA or if you're staunch vote blue, no matter who, you're dealing with an echo chamber, especially when it comes to social media. So let me ask everyone this question. Why is it that when someone like T-Pain or some blue check mark on Twitter who is staunchly pro-Biden, anti-Trump, orange man bad, all of a sudden the polls always fucking flip in Donald Trump's favor? That should never fucking happen at all. If any of these Rasmussen aside, because that's one of the few that is actually relatively accurate by comparison. But CNN, Fox News, if their polls are correct, Donald Trump should never win any of these polls, especially not polls being run by people who are constantly surrounded by left-wing echo chamber lunatics. Never. But he does. Sometimes he even wins by, double digits. That shouldn't happen. 250,000 fucking votes, and Trump's winning by 13%. Who cares more about the American worker? Republicans or Democrats? Republicans win twice.
Yeah.
Idiot had to fucking delete the poll and redid it, and the Republicans still won. That would not happen at all.
Again, your average Democrat voter, right, is a white female, all right, and they don't care about jobs. They don't because they're given jobs by the government. Companies are subsidized for hiring them. That's kind of the whole fucking point. All right, they're not like the rest of us out here, who we want to earn a living. We need to find real work. They don't care about that shit. They don't give a fuck about plumbers. They don't care about fucking roofers. They don't care about garbage men. They don't care about motherfuckers working in steel mills. They don't care about factory jobs because they don't fucking do them. That's the whole goddamn point.
But they care about their children, and that is what I mean by that is they care about them being able to get a good job, and believe it or not, that's having a major effect. There's nobody that's going to believe, all right, that Biden, all right, is going to be better on the economy than Trump will, and it's going to play out that way. We understand why the economy is what it is.
I don't see that shit at all, dude. Like, when has that played out in the past 40 years? When have women ever given a fuck about the economy?
Oh, at all? No, they care about the economy. The economy is the number one indicator. If you want to take a look at a predictor that's the closest to predicting who's gonna win, the economy is the number one tool for predicting who wins a national election.
Hey, actually, I want to point something out. Sorry, Tom Pino. I want to point this out real quick. This is usually a staunch left versus right, red versus blue demographic. But to point out, government workers and social workers almost always vote Democrat, and the majority of them are female, the same way that military and veteran are almost always male and almost always vote Republican. Look at those two demographics first, and you'll see who has the most support. Because if you see white, middle class, female social workers even supporting a Republican candidate, the DNC's in trouble. That is probably the one voter base that they never talk about, but is probably the most hard-line, blue down the ticket voter base they actually have.
And I'm gonna tell you what, you want a good predictor of who's gonna win the election. Find out which one of the fucking candidates is anti-war. The anti-war candidate has won in every fucking election for like shit. Like with every war we've had. It's how Nixon beat fucking, I forget who it was. Who was it? Ford? Yeah, it's how Nixon was. Who the fuck?
Ford was his vice president.
Yeah, Ford.
No, who did he beat?
Shit, I don't remember, to be honest.
Johnson?
No. First of all, it was what's his name? It starts a Mac. It's a Mick something.
McCarthy? I don't fucking know. I know he beat Nixon. Nixon beat the dude, you know what I'm saying? Because Nixon was anti-fucking war. He ran on an anti-war platform and fucking won, right? Fucking, I think, shit, who the fuck was it? Fucking Obama ran on a fucking anti-war platform and he fucking won. Trump won on the anti-war platform and he fucking won. It's always the anti-war candidate who fucking wins. And right. Joe Biden is pro-war.
Hubert Humphreys was the first one.
Hubert Humphreys. I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Hubert Humphreys was a vice president, by the way.
And also, Pinoy, the other thing you have to realize, there are more females than males in this country. Females usually vote Democrat, statistically speaking, more often they do Republican. But there's one thing that women don't like. They don't like sending their sons and daughters off to a fucking country they've never been to in their entire lives so they can go die for a war that they didn't vote for.
Yeah. The other election he won was against McGovern. That's the struggle.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but legit, Nixon won because he wanted to fucking end the war in Vietnam. Right? Like, this is how, like, you want a good one? Motherfuckers who are anti-war, the guys who are trying to wind down wars. And with Donald Trump legitimately destroying the American,
you're totally missing that when he got elected, you are missing that entirely. He did not run. Nixon did not run on "Let's get out of Vietnam."
He did.
No, he did not.
He did.
Right. No, he didn't.
He did not want to fucking continue that war in Vietnam.
All right, he did not. You're right. He didn't want to continue it, but he didn't run on when he was running. He didn't run on that. Okay, he didn't run saying that he was going to get us out of Vietnam. Vietnam was not as polarizing as it became during his presidency. You didn't have the anti-war sentiment. All right, in 68 like you did in 70, 72. You didn't. All right. I'm not saying it wasn't there. I'm not saying that there wasn't a current there, but it was nothing. All right.
Yes, he did. He said in the 1968 election, Republican Richard Nixon claimed to have a plan to end the war in Vietnam.
Right, but he wanted to win it. He wasn't going to play around like they were doing.
Yeah,
Why-
but he wanted to end the fucking war. It's always the anti-war candidate who fucking wins. And Trump is a staunchly anti-war fucking candidate. To be a fact, Trump's ending the U.S. world order worldwide right now, which I'm fucking fully for. This is like the best time ever for a motherfucker like me. I'm loving this shit. Like, fuck, like, yo, you mean we don't have to be the world police anymore? And like, yo, we can, you know what I'm saying, stand here and just like lay the fuck back and let these other motherfuckers do whatever the fuck it is they do? Like, yo, yeah, sounds way better. Let these idiots blow themselves up. I don't fucking care about them.
You have a myopic view of what's going to happen.
I don't. I'm studying it intensely. Like, intensely. Like, it's going to get bloody and nasty and ugly, and millions of people are going to starve, but America's going to be just fine.
They're going to attack us. Okay?
There's no one who can.
Huh?
There's no one who can.
Oh, yeah, they can.
Who?
Oh, yes, they can. It doesn't take much to attack America. What do you think 9/11 was?
Again, who?
Who? Well, which one do you want to pick? All right, first of all, China will.
China will not.
China will so.
No, they will not.
Why won't China attack us? You wanted to talk about China in a little bit here, man, just as a segue.
Yo, China, number one, does not have projection power to be able to motherfucking, like, even leave their area, let alone, stand here and fucking attack the United States. Once the United States stops defending these fucking trade routes in between, the fucking sea, what the fuck, goddamn it, the Sea of Iran? I forget what the fuck that's called. Anyway, once we stop, Persian Gulf.
Well, there's the Strait of Hormuz, which is mostly Iran, which is backed up by China. There's the South China Sea, and there's the Red Sea.
Yeah, once we stop protecting the trade routes between fucking the Strait of Hormuz and motherfucking, the fucking China Sea and shit, and China has to protect its own fucking oil tankers and has to go and get its own goddamn energy and shit because it only has, like, really 5% capability of fucking self-sufficiency for fucking, being able to provide for itself, they're fucked. They're going to fucking starve to death.
Why do you think they're playing so nice with Iran? If you look at the global coalition, Russia's really making a push to try to be the number one oil producer in the world, and they're fighting directly against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has the United States backing in the form of military and trade route security, and then there's Iran and China, which have a coalition with each other along with Pakistan, and their number one enemy is India, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, and
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
They have a problem with Vietnam. That's very true.
They have a long
I don't know
history
why.
of not liking no, that's a cultural thing. They hate the Vietnamese, and they've hated the Vietnamese for a long fucking time. It's a cultural problem. It has nothing to do with geopolitics. They just don't like the Vietnamese.
Yeah, I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. All right, legit. All of China's neighbors hate it. All right, and to be honest with you, Japan's navy is way better than fucking China's. Right,
technologically more advanced, but China can overwhelm them with numbers. Without South Korea and the United States backing up Japan, along with Australia, China would sweep Japan in a heartbeat. But that's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. And on top of that, you have fucking Taiwan and shit. Like, again, legit, China can't get out of the China Sea on its own. Right? It does not have a navy capable of doing so. And then, even if it does, it can't get past India on its fucking own. India will fuck it up. Without paying major taxes, you know what I'm saying, to go through the fucking Indian Sea. Without the United States there, they're fucked. All right?
From a naval standpoint, China has one. I'm not going to call it a trump card to play, no pun intended, but they do have a naval strategic asset that they're very good with, that they could use, and it's the same that Germany used prior to them and Russia used after that. Their submarine fleet is very, very well advanced, more than we give them credit for. So they could use their submersible fleet as a way to project power. That being said, as soon as one of those submarines pops up on the West Coast, well, I see your submarine. I'm going to raise you 3 carrier battle groups. Beijing is going to get leveled.
Their subfleet though is more of a regional subfleet. All right, they now with Taiwan and Japan and so forth. All right, as their major competitor, that makes sense. Right, most of China's subfleet is non-nuclear. It's diesel.
They're mostly diesel.
Now,
And
diesel electrics have a major advantage in that they're very, very quiet.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's why I say they could use it to project power, not in the same sense that the U.S. submersible fleet can, but it's just the fact, for all we know, there's one already sitting off the coast of D.C. to begin with. That's the real advantage they have from a Navy standpoint, and also diesel electric, generally, as a rule of thumb, tend to be cheap to operate and easy to repair and maintain, by comparison to a nuclear sub.
Yeah, but they have a limited range is the issue.
All right. I have a story that has to do with China, so that's why MC said it was a segue.
Segue away.
This is coming from theexpress.co.uk. Brink of World War III. Chinese jets tracked by missiles after entering enemy territory. The show comes after China claims the island as its own and condemned a visit after a period. It's Taiwan. Taiwanese anti-aircraft missiles and fighter jets drove out the Chinese Air Force out of the territory, but China purposely crossed into their airspace. China is being more and more provocative in the South China Sea every day, and this is going to ratchet up to a boiling point. I believe it's almost there. What say you?
Yeah, again, you know what I'm saying? Without America there to, like, you know what I'm saying, make sure that they have fuel, right? They're fucked. Legit. I say we cut them the fuck off, let them starve, and just walk the fuck away. It's that simple.
You plan to sit up there and use our Navy to prevent them from getting fuel?
No, I plan to, like, not defend their fucking trade routes anymore.
Well, yeah, but it's a difference between not defending their trade routes, all right, and blocking them from trading.
Well, not really, because everybody else will once we say, hey, we're no longer protecting Chinese ships. You can do what you want.
Who's going to attack it?
India.
India won't attack the ships unless
they will too.
No, I don't think that they'll attack those ships unless there's an actual declaration of war.
I think India all day will.
MC, in Pinoy's defense here, there has been intermediate clashes between India and China recently. The tensions are building.
And China has backed away from a lot of that. Right. So I'm not. It's not that I'm not aware of that, but at the same time, they're willing to push because their claims on Tibet.
And here's the other part of this as well. I say we let loose Turkey.
To do what?
Deal with Iran.
To deal with Iran? You think that the Turks are going to deal with Iran?
Yeah, I do. I think the Turks want to. I think, like, legit, the Turks are making moves to be the preeminent power in the Middle East.
But they see their biggest threat is Saudi Arabia, not Iran.
Yeah, and I don't want to get sidetracked with the Turks just yet because that goes into my other story. And I'm not a big fan right now.
You remember how, like, I was telling you about that book I was reading, Mad Dodge, Doku? This is exactly what the book said was going to happen. Identical shit.
I love turkey with bacon and Swiss. All right, Adam. Nice one.
Pinoy, what was the title on that book?
Actually, this is the new one, which is Disunited Nations from Peter Zion.
Okay, yeah, I remember you telling me about that somehow because I was actually rather tired and a little bit drunk. But no, I do remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, legit. This is exactly what he said was going to happen in the fucking book. Identical shit. Like he said, this is basically how it's probably going to break down. Like once the U.S. exits the world stage and they're like, "Yo, we're not dealing with your bullshit no more," and they let everybody just do what the fuck they do, it's going to go back to the point of where, like, legit, it's going to be a pre-World War II like world where people are going to have to go get their own shit and like start colonizing all the bullshit they used to do in order to be able to stand here and maintain their fucking their countries. And countries like China, which has grown the most with being in the U.S. world order, are gonna fare the worst being out of it. Because what are they gonna do when like their people starve because they don't have enough fucking food and they can't run anything because they don't have enough, they don't have any fucking oil.
Well, think about who the major players are going to be and what roles they would take up in this type of new geopolitical spectrum. If the U.S. were to exit, the stage and just say, you know what, we got the USMCA deal, Canada and Mexico's fine, screw you guys, you're on your own. You're gonna have three major powers vying for global control. That's gonna be China, Russia, and the EU, and by extension the UN and every other three-letter agency that you can fucking come up with.
The EU won't exist soon.
No.
The EU won't. But
it's gonna be France. Is who's it's gonna be. It's gonna be France.
It'll be Europe in general. Whoever decides to take the helm of the European continent, and that's up for debate. It's either going to be France or it's going to be Germany. Because I know it's not going to be the UK. It's not going to be it's not going to be Italy. It's not going to be Greece.
It's going to be France, Turkey, Japan. Fucking Russia's going to make moves, and Argentina's going to do big fucking things.
Well, you're going to see what you're going to.
Argentina is in no way, shape, or form in any kind of position to do anything. If you're talking about Latin America, the only ones in Latin America, to be honest, that are capable of doing any real kind of movement is
Brazil and Chile.
No,
yes, exactly.
Brazil can't do shit. Legit, Brazil has a
rather formidable air force.
Brazil. It's not about military strength. It's not. It's about the fact that most of their arable land requires massive amounts of fucking fertilizer to continue to be able to produce fucking crops. They have no way to really get it in because it's down in the middle of fucking nowhere and shit. They have no real fucking way of transporting any fucking goods because their fucking country's geography is completely fucked. Right? Like, Brazil is only around because, like, we're buying us and China and everybody else buys their garbage ass fucking oil and shit to stand here and use as fucking petrochemicals on fucking our fertilizer, right?
They have a lot more exploitable resources than just oil.
And actually, the one reason that the Brazil will actually get support from the United States is not only because they buy a lot of food from us, but they also have a lot of lithium.
And well, think about it this way, right? Argentina has more lithium, first off, than Brazil does, right? Secondly, Argentina has the third largest motherfucking reserves of fucking shale oil in the world, right? On top of that, remember that the three rivers that run through fucking Argentina are also connected to the countries north of it and run directly into the motherfucking Atlantic Ocean, right?
But Pinoid, you have to realize this though: Brazil, historically and also current year, is more willing to do favorable trade with the United States because we have a mutually beneficial relationship with them.
No, we don't. We don't need them for anything. There's literally nothing we need from them.
There's no reason for us to cut off trade with them either.
Oh, and that's the thing. That's the thing. We don't need them, which is why they're a favorable trading partner because they need us, and that's the reason we trade with them.
No. Like, their population is garbage too. That's the other half, right? Their population is fucking older than ours. So, like, they literally they don't have a consumer base. They're not a favorable trading partner at all. We can't sell them fucking shit.
That's not what I mean.
We sell them food, and they need a lot of it because they don't produce food for jack shit to support their population. What they give us in return is they have a supply of certain precious metals that we actually need, and we don't want to tap into our own supply, and they sell it to us for dirt fucking cheap.
No, we can get that from almost anywhere the fuck else. Like,
I mean,
legit.
we could.
Like,
I'm just saying the way that we have our trading relationship now is favorable. If that changes, then we'd cut them loose easy as fuck.
Again. Wouldn't you rather deal with a country like Argentina that actually has a population of fucking well-educated goddamn workers who can fucking produce value-added goods?
If they were so goddamn well educated, like you're trying to say, why do they keep going back again and again and again to the Marxist well, expecting somehow for this not to sit up there and fix their country? Their country in Argentina is perpetually propped up by the IMF. It defaults on its loans far more than almost any other country in the entire world. And you think somehow that this country is educated and ready to move up on the world stage? I'm sorry. They couldn't even defend islands that were off their coast from a weakened British, all right, going all the way down, all right, almost to the other side of the planet, and lost and got their asses kicked.
Argentina, legit, is a much better trading partner for the United States than Brazil is.
No, they aren't. You know why? It's not because they couldn't be. It's because they don't want to be. The Argentinians have to have a better mentality to trade with the United States. They hate us.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, unless they give up this fucking communist mentality that they have, legit, they're you know what I mean, like, they're gonna be garbage, right? But like, I think once the reorganization really starts to happen, they're gonna notice that they're gonna need, you know what I mean, fucking help from the United States. Legit. And the U.S. is going to be willing to give it. No, the U.S. is going to be willing to give it to them because on some real shit, they're a better trading partner than Canada is.
We would be willing, but they're not willing. They're not going to be willing to take it from us. I'm telling you now.
I'm telling you. Once bad shit starts happening.
Back more on that point. If the U.S. does pull off of the global stage, again, the United States is not really going to give a damn aside from Canada and Mexico. You're going to see three major powers. It's going to be China. It's going to be China.
We will continue to defend Great Britain.
Oh yeah, Great Britain will be fine. The three powers you're going to see, it's going to be China, it's going to be Russia, and it's going to be the European continent. The wild card will be Turkey, India, Pakistan, potentially Great Britain. And I would argue you're going to see Japan and South Korea form a coalition just to defend themselves from China, and they'll probably move to an isolationist standpoint. South America, and South America might actually do the same thing. And again, that's going to be a tough coalition to put together. But the reason they're going to do it is because the United States through Mexico is going to be their only decent trading partner because they can't get their shit together. But it's really going to be a fight between Russia and China. Because without the United States, the European continent, they can't really do jack shit. They've been relying on us for so fucking long. All we have to do is say, fuck it, I'm taking my ball and going home. And they're two steps behind the fucking 8 ball at that point in time. Russia will come in and take the Ukraine and look at the European nations and go, okay, what are you going to do about it?
And not like the thing is Russia doesn't have a fucking choice. Right, like Russia don't have a goddamn choice in what it does. It has to fucking conquer some goddamn land because it cannot continue to defend the borders in the way they're fucking organized right now. Like literally, their borders right now are larger than they were under the USS fucking R.
Well, the thing is, I would make this bet. You're gonna see Russia try to take Ukraine. They'll probably want to go get the nation of Georgia, Czechoslovakia, and maybe even Slovakia on their side. And they're going to side with Syria. That's going to piss off Pakistan. They might make a deal with India, but that's going to depend a lot on China and the U.S. and how they deal with things. But the one country you're going to see that gets really fucking pissed off if this happens, outside of the European continent, is going to be Turkey, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and North Africa. They are going to hate the idea of Russia being in charge of Asia Major. They're not going to like that. And they're going to look to the United States to say, hey, pick a side. If we say no, fuck you, congratulations, World War III just started. That will fucking happen.
Saudi Arabia can't do shit.
Oh, Saudi Arabia can because we've sold them a bunch of weapons for the past 4 fucking decades.
Yo, again,
Now,
they don't use them.
How long that lasts is well, that's the thing. They have a big stockpile. It's just how long is it going to last? Because Russia has more.
Look, again, they don't want to train their people to use them because they're concerned that they're just going to turn around and fucking kill their oil.
Saudi Arabia isn't populous enough to be a threat, to be honest.
Yeah, they're fucking garbage, dude. Legit.
From a warfare perspective, is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a war. Sorry, MC, real quick. I'm not talking about Saudi Arabia from a warfare standpoint, but from a trade standpoint, they're gonna want the U.S. to step in. And if the U.S. says no, Saudi Arabia better start making some new allies.
But Japan will. All right.
Japan will.
So will India. All right. Now, but a country that will step up, okay, that will step to the fore will be Egypt. Everyone forgets about Egypt. All right, as a player here. Egypt has power. All right, why? Because it has landmass and, like it or not, it can pretty much feed its own people. And it has a lot more people population-wise than many of the other nations in that region. And has in the past tried to become the Arab player in the region. Okay.
And also Jordan and Qatar.
Turkey.
Also, Egypt has a good relationship with Jordan and Qatar, which are both good auxiliary allies for a nation like Egypt.
Right. So how all that plays out remains to be seen. Turkey, on the other hand, Erdogan wants to recreate the Ottoman Empire. That's a reality. Okay, but it borders several European style nations and Eastern European nations, which makes a lot of people very nervous. All right, so I honestly think you could see a World War III just kick off over something as innocuous, all right, as Greece and Turkey over Cyprus, where a match is lit, they go to war, and it slowly expands.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, fuck the Turks, fuck them. No, I've had
Why?
it. No, shut up. Sorry.
He just asked why.
Oh, why? I thought you said mad. So why? Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. The Hagia Sophia, one of the oldest cathedrals in the world, is now a mosque. And during their first sermon, they pull out the battle sword during it. Why? Because it was won through conquest. That is a clear message to the West. And you know what? I'm about sick of everybody covering their eyes and plugging their ears when these people tell you what they want to fucking do to you. They fucking told us they want us dead. We didn't believe them. 9/11 happened. Give me a fucking break. I've had it with this bullshit. No, you want to take something in conquest? All right. We're going to rename that bitch Constantinople. Just wait.
Oh, Dodge, are you surprised at it's not in the Quran, but it's in the Hadith, I believe. It's kind of part of not religion. Like let's set the stage straight here before we move on. There is a culture and there is a religion. Islam and Muslim are not the same thing. Muslim's the religion, Islam is the culture. And it's culturally ingrained for Islamic nations to conquer. That's what they do. They've been doing it for thousands of fucking years. It's like the United States idea of manifest destiny. They've been trying to conquer Europe for how long now?
Well, no, and the thing is, I don't know how they did it. They actually got the Pope to go, what the fuck? And get pissed. He got a little bit mad. Good. Something finally pissed you off, fucking Holy See. You got your fucking head so far up your own ass for fucking I don't know how long. I'm glad they did this. Maybe you'll pull your head out your ass.
Well, Dodge, the answer to that is easy. They actively, again, Islamic states, Islamic culture actively views Christians as their rival, their enemy, their declared mortal enemy. Of course, it's you could try to sit there like, I'm a good Christian, I'm tolerant. Like, okay, Nancy Pelosi.
Hey,
Islamic nations do not view you as a friend. They want to not bend the knee to them. They want to kill you.
I have a question. I have a question, Mad Dodge. You there?
Yeah, we're all waiting.
All right, here's my question, man. Who would you rather do business with, Erdogan or motherfucking Angela Merkel?
Neither. I'd rather bomb fucking Berlin to the ground and bomb Istanbul until they fucking wave the white flag. I'm done with these cunts. You want to see a libertarian go full fucking militaristic? That's what you're getting right now. You want a crusade? We'll give you a crusade.
I'd much rather have Turkey on a goddamn warpath tearing Europe to fuck up, right, than have to fucking hear Angela Merkel tell us again how they need more diversity.
So,
Merkel. Sorry, MC, go ahead. Okay. Oh no, you go. Yeah.
Yeah. The what you want is another 9/11. You want another one of our buildings brought down, right?
Not us. We ain't got shit to do with this.
Because
legit.
No. See, that's what I'm talking about. You ask who we're at war with. Who's telling us they're at war with us?
Not with us. They're not at war with us. They're at war with Europe.
No, they have demonstrations. Even the Turks have demonstrations where they sit up there and talk about America being the great Satan.
Yeah, again, the United States has been working with fucking Turkey to deal with fucking Syria.
The only reason that we have any reason for dealing with Turkey is because of the old mentality of Cold War versus Russia / the Soviet Union.
Well,
and over of that.
MC, add to that Turkey went secular, okay, and their military was supposed to uphold that and do a coup if they ever brought religion back into the government. They tried that coup. 2 years ago? It failed. Religion is now in that government, and they now have turned on us, and they are openly spitting on us while they're still in fucking NATO.
They turned on us when they wouldn't allow us to use our bases there to attack Iraq. Okay, that was already the turning point. We should have at that point cut them off. We should kick them out of NATO. Well, actually, if you want to know the truth of the matter, in this regard, I think Pino would probably be happy with my next statement, which is we should be ending NATO now as it is. We should be pulling out of NATO. All right, and I said this many times. Right here, he remember this is a guy he says is a neocon. All right, all right.
Oh, also, the thing I want to point out, because Pino had asked it real quick, so I just want to interject very, very briefly. When it comes to Erdogan or Merkel, fuck them both. Erdogan, not our friend. Merkel, willingly handing over her fucking country to Islamic nations that want to destroy it. You know what? Let them fight each other. I don't give a shit.
I mean, let's call a spade here, all right? Legit, because Europe fucking stood there, and Germany and Brussels made agreements with motherfucking Turkey about what they were gonna do, reneged on them, and then fucking Turkey standing here going, well, we're holding back the motherfucking Muslim horde for you. You need to fucking stand here and, fucking do some shit for us. And, Europe's like, oh, no, we're not going to do anything for you.
Well, that's because, hold on a second. You're glossing over the fact that they weren't saying we're holding back the horde for you. They were saying we're ready to release the horde unless you do what we tell you to. There was a huge difference.
It's a boss move, man. I'm saying it's a boss move. That's where I'm at right now.
I'm not trying to defend Angela Merkel and the dumbass shit that she's done, but the reality is there's no way that they can accept Turkey's demands in this regard. All right.
Well, and at this point, I'm saying to Italy and Greece, you guys. That's a lot of territory, and aren't you bankrupt? How about it?
Completely. Both of those countries are bankrupt as fuck.
Exactly. And what's a good way to get out of bankruptcy? Take their shit. Have at it, guys.
I don't really. I like number one, Greece does not have the ability to conduct war, and Italy. You saw what happened the last time they tried to go to war. They're not good at it anymore. Legit. They build tanks that are their best gear is reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't go well. Legit. So I wouldn't bank on us helping you. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. I'm saying, look, all right, fucking. As far as I'm concerned, I want fucking Turkey to go to war with goddamn Europe. I do. I want them to legit get in a knockdown drag out with fucking Europe. So Europe, at minimum, wakes up and realizes that guess what? The world is not a fucking playground anymore, and the United States ain't coming to save you. I think it would be good for everybody involved.
You just want Russian, the Germans to speak Russian.
I kind of do. I don't fucking care about Germans. I don't. Like, I just don't. Legit. Like, why should I care about Germany? Like, legit. Like, fucking, they continually talk shit about us. All of Europe stands there and fucking thumbs their goddamn noses at us all day long. Why would I give a fuck about them at this point?
You and I are a lot closer than you think.
Legit. As far as I'm concerned, I'd take the Statue of Liberty, fill it with explosives, and throw it at the goddamn Eiffel Tower. That's my fucking mentality. I don't fucking care about any of these cocksuckers.
There's only two nations in the European theater that I really give a dang about, right? That have been true allies the entire time. All right. Well, three kinda, but
Poland
kind of screwed itself. Poland is one.
Bulgaria and Hungary.
Bulgaria and Hungary. The problem with Bulgaria and Hungary is both of those countries, dude. For whatever reason, they get wild hairs up their asses, and they cause problems for their neighbors. Now, granted, they're keeping back a lot of the hordes. All right, I'm not going to deny that they're on the front lines with dealing with the Islamists. All right, but at the same time, they love messing with everybody else. But the other one is the Czechs / the Czechoslovakians.
Well, no,
don't never trust a Czechoslovakian. They're as many headaches as everybody else.
Well, no, and MC, another thing, Bulgaria especially. If we go to give them weapons, half of them just go into a black hole. That is the black market. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
The Bulgarians and the Hungarians. Well, the reality is that the Hungarians would not have been a bad choice, except for we backstabbed the Hungarians, and I shouldn't say backstabbed. We screwed up. All right, when the Iron Curtain fell, we could have saved Hungary. All right, and we failed. All right, whether we would have or not, it remains to be seen. But we actually could have saved them when they revolted to try and free themselves from the Russian rule. And they have a long history of looking for freedom. And that's something that you really need. You need a population that actually hungers for freedom.
So do we just, what? You want to sit back and let Russia take the Crimea permanently? You want?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. They've had, all right, when it comes to the Crimea, specifically the Crimea, all right, now I'm going to talk about the Crimea for a moment. They have a long historical claim to the Crimea. All right, it's centuries old. The idea that okay, well, we're just going to rewrite the rules and make it part of the Ukrainians, give it to the Ukrainians. No, all right. Those areas were Russian. They speak Russian. All right.
Yeah, the people are Russian.
Time. We should never have gotten involved in that fight in any way, shape, or form, or even talked about it.
Yeah. And actually, this is something I do want to comment on because I know what I'm talking about since I listened to a breakdown of this.
Maybe I can
listen to a breakdown.
So, yeah, you're correct. Russia, for a long time, I believe it was Peter the Great originally, but he conquered Ukraine, not just the Crimea, but Ukraine. And for a long time, Ukraine was part of Russia until they got their freedom handed to them through no war or anything. They were just, hey, you guys want to be your own nation state? Here you go. But their alliance and their allegiance was still to Russia, not to Europe. The only time this changed was in the mid to late 1990s, early 2000s, when I'll let you guess who was involved by this, but what was it? Something Europa. There was a large movement because the Ukrainian government that got elected into power twice, by the way, not once, twice, was pro-Russia and against the EU. And what happened is those elections were both overthrown by the same kind of crap you're seeing that's trying to go on in the United States ever since 2016, pushed by a group of, ironically enough, fucking communists supported by Open Borders Society, aka fucking Soros. And you want to know why? You don't believe me? Look it up. It's all about energy and their connection to the EU, the UN, and the United States, and the people who are in power in the United States at the fucking time. And why do you think that Russia is the big bad enemy? Because Donald Trump is a Russian puppet and Putin's puppet. Who the fuck do you think is pulling the goddamn strings? It's not that hard to connect the fucking dots. And this only happened less than 3 decades ago. It's not something new. It's something that happened within recent memory, but it's not new enough for people to look at and be like, well, that only happened 50 years ago. No, dude, it happened in the fucking 90s. You know who supported it? Fucking Bill Clinton and George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, these are like, man, listen, again, Donald Trump is here to tear down the world order. And I'm with the ideology. Like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need, look, we set all this shit up, all right, back in the 1940s in order to fight the fucking Russians.
so
You know what I mean? And once fucking the USSR fell, we never dealt with any of this bullshit. That's why, like, all the countries we have problems with are old Russian puppet states. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Cuba, goddamn North Korea, motherfucking, shit, who the fuck was, Iran, all these fucking places, Afghanistan. We never dealt with the fucking USSR fucking coming down. We never dealt with the Iron Curtain falling. And, like, now that we have to deal with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we're not dealing with it well. Like, it's all complete and utter fucking bullshit at this point. So, you know what I mean? I think we should just, you know what I mean, stand here and fucking, like, let it go and let it die. We'd only use, out of our whole GDP, 6% of our fucking GDP is relying on export. And fucking 3% and 50% of that is Canada and Mexico. Hell with it. We don't fucking need this shit. We're not using it. And we're just fucking wasting $1 trillion a year continuing to defend everybody else's fucking shit.
Oh, Pino, you touched on something that I want to bring up just quickly. With Europa and the Ukraine, I believe it was the Rose Rebellion. I believe that was Georgia, and then there was the Orange Rebellion. I believe that was Slovakia. Maybe I think it had some pickup in the UK, but it didn't really go anywhere. But with those 3 groups, first off, all supported by elements that you can find by doing a little bit of digging that I'm not going to say here because YouTube will be bitchy at us for it. But their symbols that they use, they're all the fucking communist fist. The same fucking fist that you see groups like BLM using. They're not even fucking trying to hide it. These are all communist groups that are trying to create this type of ideology and this type of upheaval from countries that don't want to be fucking communist.
Okay, well, how far are you going to let it go? This is Belarus. Are you going to let them have that back?
Yep.
Why not?
Okay, what about
as long as you
care.
Trade, I don't care what territory you take, as long as you trade with me and don't start a war with me and it's profitable, I really don't fucking care. I just don't want you coming to my shores.
Well,
they're not raping people and shoving them in gulags anymore, man.
Well, the Polish are going to care because there goes their safety net.
What safety net?
The border countries were put there for a reason.
And you know what the Polish are you know what the Polish are more worried about now? It ain't Russia. I can tell you that much.
No, it's immigrants from fucking Germany they're worried about.
Yeah, they're worried about the Germans again. They're still worried about the Russians as well.
But not to the same degree. You get what I'm saying.
And here's the other thing. You're like, yo, if the Americans are no longer like standing here keeping everybody fucking equal and shit, the Germans are going to have to build up. You know what I mean? Because like they're surrounded by neighbors who like get all nervous every time fucking. You know what I mean? Goddamn Germany's by itself.
I fully think that we should pull all of our troops out of Germany. I'll be honest with you.
I want all of our troops to fuck out of everywhere.
No, you can't do that.
Why?
Because of the hole it'll create. All right, we still have allies. We still have people, all right, who have been true allies for us, and there's no reason for us to stab them in the back.
Again, we don't need them.
That doesn't mean we have to stab them in the back.
We're not stabbing them in the back. We're going home.
No, I say keep the British Isles, keep Japan, keep South Korea, keep Okinawa, and
Japan will still be there. The British Isles. Who the fuck is going to take them?
Oh no, we want to use it for just a.
You want to use it for
logistic
areas for launch points.
Here's what's going to happen with the British Isles. All right, here's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to go, oh, Europe won't trade with us. They'll go, well, we'll open our market up to us, but you're going to have to move that financial center in London to New York. That's what's going to happen, and we're going to get it. Legit, we will get it.
I don't see a reason why we have to do it that way.
We do, because that's how we do things. That's exactly like look, when fucking
they're going on right now, Pinoid. There might not be a New York. Okay, New York City might be burned to the ground soon.
Yeah, New York's gonna be there. All right, like don't worry about that. America is in no danger. All right. So what's gonna happen is I'm
talking about internally. They're gonna freaking bury themselves into the ground.
Oh well, yeah, they're gonna end up bankrupt. You know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna come over. Then they go, we need money. You go, well, what we need you to do is hang fucking Mayor De Blasio. All right, and then we want the head of fucking Chris and fucking Anthony Cuomo. You know what I'm saying? Like on a fucking platter floating down the Potomac. And then fucking everything will be cool. But that's neither here nor there right now. What we're gonna do is the same thing we did in World War II. All right. The fucking Winston Churchill came over and you know what I'm saying, he asked the United States, he said, hey, look, we need some fucking ships and some help. And fucking we went, oh man, yeah, we got these World War I ships you can fucking have. And we gave them the most dog shit ships that ever happened. And like they went, oh, I thank you. He goes, oh, that's not for free, right? He said, yeah, we're gonna take all of your fucking colonies in the Western Hemisphere.
What colonies did they have in the Western Hemisphere?
I believe we took St. Thomas, St. Lucia, a bunch of shit. We took a bunch of shit from them.
We had the U.S. Virgin Islands for a while, dude.
We took a fuck ton of shit from them. I forget exactly what it was. We took all that, and then we took a bunch of gold from them in order for them to be able to have these garbage-ass ships. Because that's how America negotiates. And we're going to get the whole financial center in London shipped to New York. And we're going to have all of it. We've already moved the fucking gold exchange from fucking London over to New York. We might as well just take the rest of it.
I honestly think that New York is going to collapse. I really do.
I do too, but I don't see any other place to put a financial center. I really don't.
Well, I would have said that they could probably stick one in Chicago, but it's going to burn too. So,
I mean, how about Charleston, West Virginia? It seems like they could use a boost in the GDP. Hey man,
there's going to be a lot of empty buildings in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, so yeah, man, you understand, I'm not concerned at all about the US leaving the world order. Saudi Arabia, they export terrorism, and I do believe that Turkey will deal with them. You know what I'm saying? I think Turkey's just going to take over that whole region and fuck all of them up, and Egypt as well is going to hold shit down.
You do understand that we back the Saudi regime, and if Turkey tries to deal with them, they're dealing with us.
Yeah, we don't need to anymore. We have what's known as the CHIPS system, right? Basically what it is it's a clearinghouse for everybody in the world to be able to do business with each other. And so what they do is like if somebody in Azerbaijan wants to do trade in Peru, right? You know, I mean, like fucking nobody in Azerbaijan has like Peruvian fucking, you know, I mean, bolivars, and nobody in fucking Peru has Azerbaijan rubles, right? So what they'll do is they transfer both of them into dollars, and then do their exchange, and then the dollars, you know what I'm saying, go to the countries and their exchange for their fucking currency, or they just keep them as dollars, right? So we always have a constant pool outside of the United States on our currency, you know, I mean, that way we can export our inflation no matter what happens. And this system has grown so large that we no longer need the petrodollar anymore. And so Saudi Arabia is no longer a necessary tool for us.
Yeah, but Saudi Arabia is a necessary tool for Japan.
I'm gonna go with no, right?
I'm gonna go with yes, because that's where they get that 80% of Japan's oil comes from the Gulf region.
Yeah, and they'll still be able to do so.
Not without us protecting the shipping lanes.
Nah. Like I'm pretty sure like fucking Australia and India will help out. You know, they can work out their own shit.
How can Australia help out? Have you taken a look at the size of their shipping? The number of ships that they actually can field right now? If they can field 3 or 4 seaworthy ships, I would be amazed. And that's not an exaggeration.
Well, again, everybody's gonna have to build up. You know, like yo, shit's gonna settle where it's gonna settle. And on top of that, Japan can defend its own trade routes.
No, not currently. Now they're getting better. It's getting better, but they are starting to expand. I will admit that Japan has the capability of increasing it, but it's not a role that we can just pull out tomorrow and let it see what happens.
I'm telling you, Japan is fine.
I'm letting people increase and build as we slowly draw down. I don't have a problem with, but just going out 100%, pulling back to Pax Americana, you know, the homeland again, right? That's not going to happen. There are things we can do. I will admit that we do need to pull out of Germany. We need to pull all of our assets out of Spain as well. All right, I've had enough of those assholes. All right. I have no problem leaving bases in Poland, and I have no problem leaving bases at this point in time in Great Britain or South Korea or even in Japan. All right, but you can't just go turn around and go, okay, well, we know that we promised we'd help you in these things, but we're gonna backstab you and walk away. You can't.
We're not backstabbing them, like yo, because we still have shit going on with Japan, even without the shipping.
Well, not if we're not protecting those sea routes. They don't.
Yo, look, we don't like legit. They still have shit that they're doing with us without the fucking sea lanes.
But they can't survive without the sea lanes.
Again,
with us isn't the issue.
That sounds like a Japan problem. That doesn't sound like an America problem.
But it is an America problem if you backstab Japan and say, okay, well, yeah, we know we used to protect you here, but we're not going to protect you anymore. See ya, have fun. That is a backstab move, dude.
It's not a backstab move if we go, look, we can't afford this anymore because of the coronavirus. Hey, look, we're broke and we can't defend all this bullshit anymore. We're going home, right? Y'all got to deal with this shit yourselves. They're gonna be like, well, it is what it is. Like, they ain't got no fucking choice because you know what? They already fucking stood here and what the hell is it called? Fucking shit, man. When you stand here and you send jobs overseas, you fucking what are you doing with the goddamn jobs? What's the word?
Exporting them? I don't know.
Not exporting them.
Displacement.
Offshore. Nah, it's like decentralizing some bullshit. Like, I forget the name of it. Fucking but like there's a term for it. Fucking when like you're fucking doing some shit with that. Anyway, right? So like they already like have a bunch of their fucking manufacturing chunks set in America right now, right? Which is sending money back to Japan, right? Maybe they should take that money and use it to build boats. You know what I mean? That they can defend their fucking sea lanes with.
No, screw that. Make them buy boats from us. That's what we should do. You want to keep Japan. You want to keep South Korea. You want to keep Okinawa. You want to keep Poland, you want to keep the British Isles, you want to keep Dubai, and you want to keep Israel. Those are the only areas we should have a standing military force, because not only are those trade partners, but it gives us the ability to project power at a moment's notice, and they're all good trade partners. Outside of that, we really don't need anybody else. I mean, maybe you could put like a base in Canada or Mexico somewhere, but who really gives a fuck? Like maybe pop one in Brazil for shits and giggles.
Okay. When you make a deal like, hey, we're going to build a base here, it's not like renting an apartment, okay? You sign treaties, and you do a lot of shit. So MC's right. We can't just go, hey, peace out, guys. What we have to do is renegotiate the treaty.
I mean, we could sell it back to them.
No, because then we're tied into more fucking bullshit forever.
Oh, that's the thing. We could sell it back to them, and that would be a viable option. Or we could have it as a joint venture where, let's use Australia as an example. Half of it is for whenever the United States needs it, and the other half is for wherever you guys need to fly an airplane to fuck knows wherever, who cares. The people we need to cut off, though, more than anybody, is fucking China. Like, cut off China. Screw them. That's the only real problem we actually are facing right now.
All right. We got about half an hour left.
We got about
Arizona. MC, you covered it on the morning show. I showed you the video. The neighbor calls 911, not once but twice, saying there's domestic violence happening. We don't know what was happening inside that apartment, but after the incident, the girlfriend said they were playing Crash Bandicoot and making salsa.
Oh, God, this bullshit. All right, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let you guys talk about it before I rant.
No. Go ahead. We really want you. I want your input on this.
Okay, first 911 call. He complains about loud banging and yelling from the neighbors. He waits half an hour. No cops show up because there's a shitty fucking noise complaint and there's riots going on. Right? Okay. Calls half an hour later. Yeah, I called about a domestic dispute and they're really going at it now. And you can't hear anything over the phone. You can't hear any yelling. I mean, he's saying that they're so loud he can't sleep. I can't hear anything over the phone. Usually you would hear it. That's neither here nor there, I suppose. And the 911 operator says, "Sir, is it just verbal or is it physical?" This is his response. "Well, I could say it's physical if that means you'll get here faster. I mean, I hear banging. Sure, he could be throwing her against the door for all I know. I don't know what's going on in there. So, yeah, I think it's physical." The cops show up. They knock on the door. They do say Phoenix Police. They do say that. They go off to the side so you can't see them through the peephole. MC said that's common practice. Whenever a cop has ever knocked on my door, they're right in front of the they're right there in front of the door. I can see them. So I don't know. I thought it was odd. The man opens the door. He has a gun behind his back because it's dark and he's checking. He sees the cops. And then the cop behind him sees the gun. And the cop in front of him goes, or no, the cop in front of him saw the gun too. Because he goes, hands, hands, hands. And he puts one hand out flat and the other kind of flat, setting the gun down. And this all happened in about 5 seconds.
I've seen the video.
The police officer behind him lets off 3 in the back center. Pop, pop, pop. He drops and he's dead. The girlfriend comes out. They're like, "Go back inside. Get away from the gun. Wait, come out. Come out." I thought that was weird. I wanted that pointed out. And then she comes out and freaks. Why did you shoot him? What is going on? He had a gun. It's dark and you're banging on the door. Yeah, he had his gun. And she is just wigging out. That is pretty much the video. She does say they were playing Crash Bandicoot and making salsa. There might have been yelling from the PlayStation. They were not fighting, according to her. I'm going to open it up to you guys. So go however you want to. I don't know. MC was right when he said it was a tragedy. I don't think this warranted the cop shooting. The gun was being lowered, not raised. I don't know.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Well, I'm just gonna say I didn't hear MC's morning show. I have seen a few videos covering this. I'm gonna save my input. I want to let MC and Pinoid go first.
Man, look, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got too many laws, and we need to turn them down. And MC, the word I was looking for was desourcing. It's like outsourcing, except where like you take your whole fucking manufacturing, you put it in somebody else's country, so that they end up like you don't end up having to like fucking ship it nowhere. It's like right into the goddamn fucking like heart of the country. It gives right into the shipping lanes, or right into like their fucking like their whole shit. You know what I mean? It's called desourcing. I just wanted to put that there. And I didn't watch this video, so I'm gonna bow out and go to fuck sleep because I gotta be up in the morning. Love y'all niggas. Peace.
All right, man. All right. The thing is the you have one cop on one side of the door, the other cop on the other side of the door back. Okay, when the guy comes out, right? Now, he doesn't raise the gun. He does not have the gun raised. But because of how the door is and how he comes out, he puts that gun behind his back. The one cop, all right, that shoots him, all right, sees him with that gun behind his back, all right, pulls his sidearm, all right, and then the yelling begins. The guy's arm naturally starts to pull that gun forward. That's what he sees. If you look at his body cam, just focus on his body cam. From his point of view, it looks like that guy's pulling the gun. Now, if you look at it from the other cop's point of view, you can see that he's getting ready to set it down. But by then, it was too late. The gunfire was going off because the other cop sees this hand coming from behind his back, moving forward. All right, and which is why he fired. Now, that part, I can't fault the cops for. Okay, I can't fault him for that. Because in reality, when this guy looked outside, he never should have opened the door all the way. He should have looked outside, said, it's the cops, just a second, and he should have sit up there and set the gun down and then opened the door or stepped outside then. Okay? When you have a weapon, all right, you have to understand the situation as well. And let's be honest, plenty of people have attempted to kill and ambush cops. This has happened all across the country and including in Phoenix. It's not a great thing. It's not a wonderful thing that this happened. It's a tragedy that this happened. All right. Could it have been avoided? Well, quite frankly, one of the problems that Pinoid kind of touched on real quick is when they drove by and they didn't hear any yelling or screaming or anything, they have no why are you going up and knocking on the door? I hate to say, I'm going to be real bluntly. Well, why the cops at that point said, look, we don't hear anything. There's no reason for us to be here. Could the situation have calmed down or anything? Yeah. Could the situation have already been resolved? Yeah. All right. Could this have been a domestic dispute? Okay. But if the domestic dispute isn't taking place and you don't hear anything, there's no reason for you to sit up there and try and stick your nose in it, is there? All right. That's where I fault the cops. But that's where I fault all society as well. Look, people have arguments. People yell at one another. If you're married and you tell me you've never yelled at your spouse, you don't have a marriage. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it. All right, go ahead. It looks like everybody's... Go ahead.
Yeah, give me a second. All right, I'm dealing with a kitten.
Attacked by the cat.
Yeah, he's being obnoxious and needy. So no, MC, I get where you're coming from, and I tend to agree. I have two very strong points I want to make, and change my mind if you want to. But first off, there's already riots going on. We've seen the heated level of what's going on in this country for reasons that don't need explaining. If I'm living in a situation where I'm in an apartment, I hear somebody knocking on the door. To be perfectly blunt, you can say, "Oh, it's the cops." I'm not really gonna fucking care. And like you said, yeah, he should have said, "Oh, okay, double check." That's fine. But anybody can put on a fucking blue uniform at nighttime and say, "Oh, it's the cops." It doesn't mean you're telling you the fucking truth. And it's even more odd to me that you wouldn't be right there, badge in hand, like, "Hey, we got a call. Apparently there was a domestic dispute." Why the fuck are you hiding around the fucking corner expecting something to fucking happen? I get the cops are on edge too because of what's going on.
They're trained not to get in front of the door, though. They're trained not on the domestic violence and things like that, not to get in front of the door.
Oh, I understand that, and that's going to bring me to my second point. If they're trained to do that, and I've watched the video in slow motion, I've seen 3 people, 2 of which are police officers, who have said the way that they reacted was way too fucking fast, and the guy who actually shot, the one you're talking about from the 3 in the back, he was actually in the wrong on this one for a very specific fucking reason. He wasn't listening to what the other cop was saying. And it's not about the fact that the guy got shot, wrongfully so, because he was going to disarm himself and put the gun down. You can see that clearly in the video. The reason that he's in the wrong is because he's also in the line of fire of his fucking other fellow officer.
I disagree with you. He's not.
That's what I've heard said. And
I saw the video. I can tell you right now, he was not in the line of fire of the other officer. Right? Now, was he closer? And depending upon how the situation played out. Look, when you have separation distance and something like that, you couldn't. Can somebody move to where they were in the line of fire? Yeah. All right. But the reality is from the angles that they were at and how they were facing, he wasn't likely to be in the line of fire from the other police officer. In fact, when he fires, you can tell that the other police fire officer is not even close to being in front of him from the angle with which he's engaging at that point. Okay, so I don't have a problem with that aspect of it. Now, as far as saying, well, he wasn't listening to the other officer, there is a problem in police departments around the country with officers, and that is who's in charge. Okay, it's been an issue. Okay, it continues to be an issue of getting everybody on the same sheet of music when somebody's in charge. The military does a much better job, all right, of making sure rank and everything is applied. And in cases like this, okay, you can look at it from that standpoint. Okay, I don't disagree with you that there's not a training issue. Right.
Real quick, MC, I just want to interject something briefly. I'm not going to make the argument that it's a break in the chain of command. I'm making an argument that it's a lack of situational awareness. Because if you're aware enough to see that someone has a gun and they're going to move and you're acting based on that motion, but you're at the same time not aware of the orders being given by the other officer that's on location, who is also armed, that shows me an emotional reaction and a lack of situational awareness, which is what led to this man's unfortunate and unnecessary death.
That, to an extent, I would agree with you, but the reality is training that out of people isn't easy. Okay.
Oh, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
There is a hunter's focus. Okay, that happens, and for those who don't understand what I'm talking about, is in those situations, your field of vision, your concentration shrinks all right, towards your target. All right,
it's tunnel vision.
It's a natural consequence, and it happens even during training when you're using, like miles gear and shit, where you become target focused. Okay, it's one of the things that the Air Force, all right, especially tries to demonstrate to their people, because one of the problems is target fixation. All right, they lose track of what else is going around them. The enemy, what the enemy is doing as a whole, focused on that one target. Right, it is something that happens. Okay, it's not in an airplane. You can do things to get people to try and break out of that habit. It's not easy to do it on the ground, and the reason for it is because it's very difficult to see it happen unless there's a consequence. For example, when we were using the miles gear and everything, all right, we would engage in little war games. But you didn't know that you were hyper focused on your target unless you got hit, unless your miles gear went off. You would never know. And there's never going to be anybody that's going to be able to say, "Hey, you were too focused on the target as you were servicing things." Okay, you literally have to learn that the hard way when your miles gear goes off because you were focusing on a target or something else in the after action group points it out to you. So it's not as clean cut to deal with even on a police force or anything like that to get them out of that mentality. Now,
but I don't
want to make one more point.
I don't disagree there.
Well, I want to make one more point. Look, the reality is when it comes to your personal safety, you as the individual are the number one person responsible. Not the police, not your girlfriend, not your boyfriend, not your husband, not your wife, not the neighbor down the street, and definitely not the police officer. You. And in a situation like what you're talking about, I agree that people were on edge. I agree that everyone is wondering what the hell's going on, and there's a knock at the door, and the guy comes to the door to see if it's the police officer. And yes, could it not be the police? Well, okay, if it isn't the police, all right, in that situation, it doesn't matter if you have the gun coming up or not, you're just still going to get shot, all right? And so the reality is you have to make an intelligent decision, a non-emotional decision, realize the situation with the police officers and go, okay, I'm going to do something, all right, with the cops. Simple things like, look, I've got a gun. I'm going to slowly move so that they are aware. I'll do exactly what you tell me. All right, you tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And at that point, everything could have been resolved. Or, like I said, he opens the door, looks out, says, okay, it's the cops, and then puts the gun on the floor and then walks out.
Yeah, but here's the problem. From the door opening to the first shot is 5 seconds. Okay. There was no time for anything. I get it. He opened the door too much because it showed the gun. But once he opened that door, they weren't going to let him shut the door if they thought there was a domestic violence. What if he has evidence in there? What if he just killed his girlfriend? They're not going to let him shut that door. So
what's he going to do? What's he going to do? The police will let you see. If you sit up and say, wait a second, and go and just open the door a little bit and look out and say, okay, I'll be right out. They'll let you, if it looks like nothing's going on, they won't kick the door in. All right? They won't. All right? And if he's got a dead body or a dead girlfriend in there, what difference is it going to make if he closes the door and opens it later?
I suppose that's a good point, but that cop was quick to pull the trigger, in my opinion. So would he have let him shut the door? I'm not necessarily sure.
Well, if you only open the door a crack and peek out, okay, and say hello, yeah, okay, just a second, and shut the door real quick. You don't have to open the door all the way or even most of the way. Okay, the fact is that the way he opened the door, all right, he opened the door with his left hand. He had the gun in his right hand, and the way that he went around the door, because he didn't open the door all the way, caused him to put that gun behind his back as he moved out so the other guy could see it. And the other guy only sees him with a gun behind his back and then moving it forward.
All right. So Arizona is open carry state, as is Oregon. If you're pulled over and you're open carrying, is this same situation going to happen? I mean, how jumpy are these cops in Phoenix?
Okay. Let's talk about the situation. That's a good question. You had a similar situation. What happened in Minnesota, right? Where the guy tells him that he's armed and then reaches into his back pocket and gets shot several times. Right? What you do, all right, when you get pulled over, you inform the police officer and you say, okay, I've got a weapon on me. Keep your hands on the steering wheel where the cop can see them. Tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it one thing at a time. And you let the police sit up there and think that they're in control, believe that they're in control, and let them tell you what to do so that you can make sure that everyone stays safe. You have the number one responsibility. Well, just don't answer the door.
MC, what I want to point out about this particular situation, and this is really where this is on the fault of the cops, and ultimately, in my opinion, really on the neighbor who is being no words need to be said there. There wasn't enough time given to comply with the orders that the police were issuing. That's the problem.
But you have split seconds from when you see a gun going forward to make that determination.
Well,
right?
That's the thing. No one wins. No one wins in this situation.
Well, exactly. All right, but you have to be responsible for your own safety. You have to understand, okay, how can I safely? You know that the cops are not going to be happy, are going to be concerned if you've got a gun out. Okay?
And that's the problem. And that's the problem with the situation is that the man in question who got shot and lost his life was trying to comply with the orders that were being given to him, and it still resulted in him losing his life despite complying with orders.
But if situationally, that's just that because of the situation as it existed. If he would have thought about the situation ahead of time, all right, and responded differently to try and make sure that the cops were as comfortable as possible with the fact that he had a gun.
Yeah,
okay, it could have changed.
You know what?
Sorry, Dodge. Can I cut you off? Let me cut you off real quick, Dodge.
Because my point's really quick. Really quick.
Okay.
The fact that you say that they have to be comfortable, I understand. I get it that bad guys want to shoot them. I understand that. But most people are not the bad guys. And it is your constitutional right to carry a firearm and your state right to open carry. Shouldn't they be comfortable to begin with?
Not
Dodge.
your hand.
Dodge, that kind of builds off what I was going to say. Okay, the guy was trying to comply with the police orders. Yeah, you could say that the police are jumpy and, because of the current state of society. Yeah, they're going to be a little more trigger happy than usual. Apparently, this guy is too. So you could make that argument from this guy's standpoint. Do I know it's the cops? Do I think someone's going to break into my house and try to harm me or my girlfriend? If he didn't feel jumpy, if he didn't feel threatened, if he didn't feel like he didn't have if he had a reason to have a gun, this guy's clearly feels necessary to be armed for his own personal safety as well.
I understand that, but are you trying to prevent the tragedy, or are you creating a situation where a tragedy is going to happen regardless?
The guy didn't have enough time to actually know and then comply with orders. I
disagree with you. He could have looked out and put the gun down, or informed the cops right then and there, look, I've got a gun, and then let them dictate the pace, telling him what to do at every step. Okay, by coming out the way he did, and I'm not saying he was trying to be aggressive or anything else. What he did, okay, they try and explain it in a different way. All right, you're driving down the highway, all right, and you're doing whatever speed it is, and you pull up next to a semi truck, all right, as it's going down the highway. Do you stay in its blind spot? Do you just pull up beside the truck and creep a little bit because it's kind of scary, so you stay against with the truck there for a longer period of time, like my wife does, which drives me crazy, all right? Or do you go around? Okay, you have decisions, but those decisions can have consequences. If you stay next to that semi, all right, for a long period of time, what you're doing is you're cutting off options, all right, if that guy has an emergency, if that guy sees something that you don't, all right, at which point something that could have avoided a wreck if you would have just decided to, okay, it's time to go around, and immediately did your business and went around the guy versus slowly creeping down because you're a little bit scared. All right, you have to think of these things. You have to be prepared for these things. All right, at the point of what this guy did, and I'm not blaming him. Okay, you got to understand this. I'm not saying that this guy did anything wrong in and of itself. I'm just saying from his perspective, there were things, he had options that could have made things go a lot better. All right. Now, you can say, well, the police had options too, but the options they have endanger their lives.
MC, I get what you're saying, MC, but I have to cut you off real quick on this one, because when you're watching the video, guy came out. Could he have done things better? Yes. Officer number 1 tells him to put down the weapon and put it on the floor. He complies. Officer number 2 doesn't even tell him stop, freeze, take your hand away from the weapon. He just opens fire. No warning.
He sees a weapon being pulled.
And this is why I say it's a problem with training, because
because if he hadn't have pulled it then, he's endangering his partner's life.
Okay, this is going to piss you off, MC, but I'm going to say it. I thought they signed up to risk their lives.
No.
How about you give the benefit of a doubt to the people?
Before we jump down that rabbit hole, Dodge, this is what I need to point out. Because of the amount of elapsed time between the officer 1 telling guy put down the weapon, and then from the time that happens, when the guy actually starts to comply, to officer 2 shooting him, who is behind him in full view of the weapon, that time is not enough time to actually comply with the orders given by officer 1, let alone turn around, pull the gun, aim at the second officer, and then turn and shoot before the second officer already has his weapon drawn, bead on you, enough time to pull the trigger and put 3 rounds into you. There is not enough elapsed time for that to have happened. The guy jumped the shark. And I'm not saying that
because he had to, because if he didn't, within the next split second, his partner could have been shot. This is the thing. You're trying at that point. He's trying to protect his partner. He's trying to put the other guy down before his partner does get shot, not giving him the opportunity to do it.
And I'm still saying this is on the second officer, because he should. And I understand what you're saying. The guy was already being ordered to relieve himself of the weapon and put the weapon on the ground, and he didn't even have the chance to do so before he got shot. And this is on the second officer. I understand, yeah, you're supposed to react in a situation on a split second, a moment's notice, because yes, your life is at risk. This guy still acted in an irresponsible way that resulted in someone losing their life when they shouldn't have.
Because you're making the assumption, all right? You're saying that this guy should have been given the chance to comply when he sees a gun being moved forward. That's not how you're trained.
Again,
you're never going to be trained that way to allow for somebody to move a gun into a position to fire at another officer. You're never going to be trained to allow that.
Fire at the ground. The barrel was pointed down. I saw the video.
You had the guy bringing the weapon from behind his back forward
because he was told to do so.
Oh, no, I don't disagree, but the guy behind him just sees him bringing a weapon forward.
But doesn't he have ears? Didn't he hear his partner?
Even if he heard his partner, he sees the action.
And he didn't tell him to freeze or stop or take your hand away from the gun. He just opened fire.
Both, if you really want to know the truth of the matter, there's a lot of ways they could have stopped this, right? Which is when they first saw the gun, they could have said, freeze, all right, go back in the house, put the gun down, then come back out here. And then
that's what I'm saying should have happened. The situation was handled poorly on both sides of the coin. Right. What I'm saying is there wasn't enough time to comply.
For how this was played out. All right. There are ways that this possibly could have been better or this could have worked. But the one thing that is very true is the police would not have shot him if he would have said, you know what, I glanced out. Yeah, it's the cops. Give me a second so that I can put this gun down. All right. And then put the gun down and then come out with both hands raised.
And you know what, and I agree with you on that one, MC, because the first thing I always do if I'm dealing with police officers, if I'm armed, the first thing I do before I even go for my driver's license is let them know I'm armed. Would you like me to disarm myself? And then I follow their orders. That's what everybody needs to realize. This situation happened, and it's unfortunate because he didn't do that. That's on him. But the officers also acted too quickly, and that's on them. No one wins in this situation. It's unfortunate what happened. And I understand why it happened from both sides.
It's a tragedy that can happen. All right. It's one of the things that can happen in an armed society. People have forgotten how to act in an armed society. That's one reality. People are not used to dealing with the fact that they themselves are armed. When you go out there, go out and you buy a weapon. Hey, you have a responsibility to handle the weapon yourself as well. All right. You have a responsibility. All right, not to go out there and try and push your way or bluff your way or trying to play Billy Badass because you got a gun. You've got to act responsibly too, and you got to start thinking more on a broader scale as to what's going on out there because you don't want to be in a two-way rifle range. All right, unnecessarily.
Well, it's the thing. Perhaps this is a good analogy. When you go to a shooting range, if you're about to go change out your targets, the first thing you do is you let everybody else at the shooting range know, hey, I'm going down range, and then everybody clears their fucking barrel and turns the rifle away from down range just in case there's a misfire or something like that. We don't need gun control. We need gun responsibility. And because we don't have that, situations like this happen. The guy should have said, oh, you're the cops? Name and badge number. Okay, even if they just say the name, I'm more inclined to believe that, yeah, you're not bullshitting me. Oh, by the way, officer, I'm armed. Can I disarm myself? What would you like me to do? Okay, go inside, close the door, disarm yourself, come outside, hands raised, where I can see them. Okay, you go inside, you put the gun on the counter. Okay, hands raised. All right, turn around, let me see your front, let me see your back. All right, cool, we have some questions for you. Boom, problem solved, no one dies. This is an unfortunate situation from both aspects. Yes, officer number 2 is concerned about officer number 1's safety. Guy coming out of the apartment is concerned that these aren't officers and it's, some idiot Antifa rioter trying to fucking, shoot him through the fucking door with a 12 gauge. I can understand both sides of the argument. No one in this particular instance is innocent, and that's why it's so fucking tragic. It could have been prevented, but it wasn't. And it's not just because the officers weren't well trained or because the guy acted irresponsibly. It's because of both reasons. And there's no defending either of them. So we can argue about it all we want. End of the day, real quick. End of the day, fact of the matter is, if we're going to be honest about this, it shouldn't have happened and it could have been easily prevented, but it wasn't because both parties were at fault.
Okay. I believe the one with the badge should take more of the app. They're more at fault in this. They have the training. They deal with people, and it is law that you can open carry in the state of Arizona. I believe the cop handled it better.
How is it that the cop could have handled it better? All right.
He could listen to his partner.
No, you cannot sit up there and make assumptions when you see a suspect engaging in an action to endanger your partner. The whole idea is saying, okay, well, he's going to disregard that motion, all right, which just with what his partner said is nonsense. He's not going to do that.
And she is correct. As someone who is trained in the use of a firearm can draw, rack the slide, and shoot you twice within a matter of 3 seconds. So you do have to act quickly. I can understand people saying, well, they're the one with the badge and the uniform and the gun. They should be better trained. I can understand people making that argument. At the same time, the guy has a gun. He should realize if it's the cops, he should probably at least disclose the fact that, is it the cops? Ask questions first, and then say I'm armed.
If the guy would have done his actions, would it have mattered how well trained or poorly trained the cops were?
So what happens when that same cop goes to the next call like that, where the neighbor lies? Because that neighbor lied, and then the neighbor should be as culpable as the officer who fired the shots. And I would actually, the officer should go to prison. But I do believe it should be a mark in his record, and he should be demoted if he has any rank.
Well, why would he be demoted?
I would actually argue that the neighbor is the one that's most liable for what happened in this situation. The deputy number 2, the one who fired the shots, he did so because he thought the guy was a threat. Did he act too quickly? Could it be a result of poor training? Yes, you could make that argument. But as far as the cop who fired the shots knows, the guy was reaching for his weapon to shoot his partner. He acted accordingly. I
don't care. I want some disciplinary measures. I want him to not react the same way next time.
So you want a dead cop?
No. He wasn't going to kill a cop. There was no dead
cop. You have no idea if he was going to kill a cop. You want to know the truth of the matter? You don't right now. You have no idea, all right, if he was really going to kill a cop. You are assuming that because of what you've seen, and he was prevented from doing anything further. All right. Now, I believe, yes, that he wasn't trying to kill the cop as well. But you're making a series of assumptions that cops can't make, all right, especially in the moment, in the heat of the moment, when both sides are armed.
MC has a point that I can't disagree with. Do I think the cop acted a little too hastily? Yes, I do. Do I think it's a result of perhaps poor training or just heat of the moment? You could make that argument. But at the end of the day, let's put everything aside. What the cop who fired the 3 rounds knew is that the guy was armed, he reached for his weapon, and feared either for his life or the other officer's life, and he acted accordingly, which unfortunately was use of lethal force. That's what we know.
Okay, conduct an investigation, then put a demerit in his record.
Well, the first thing you would have to do is ask the cop why he chose to draw his service weapon.
Do you think the guy feels good about the fact that he's killed somebody?
No, he probably feels terrible about it, unless you're a complete sociopath or a psychopath or a combination thereof. What you should do in a situation like this, we have both. You have the body cam footage from both officers. Ask him why he felt the need to draw his service weapon, point, aim, and shoot somebody and take their life, and then go from there. Because given the situation, as I said before, the guy playing Crash Bandicoot with his girlfriend clearly felt it wasn't safe enough to walk outside of his apartment door without being armed.
And the cops for having the idea that is, but the idea of the point where he looked around and saw it was the cops. He should have, when they said it's the cops,
he should have disclosed the fact he was armed.
Right at that point, when he heard that they said it's the cops, okay, you have a weapon. You know the cops, all right, are there. If I have no problem with him looking out there to check to see if it is truly the cops, okay, at which point it's like, okay, now you're going to have to make a choice on what you want to do. Walking out the way he did, all right, added impetus to the fact that, oh my God, because he didn't warn them that he was armed, he just came out armed, okay? So I'm not, and once again, I'm not saying he wasn't in the right. I'm saying, though, let me give an example. Another example. Let's say you're a pedestrian and you're ready to go across the crosswalk. The light turns green and you see a car speeding towards you. Now, you decide, well, he'll have to stop. I'm going to walk out in front of it. And you get hit. Is it going to matter at that point, the fact that you were right?
Oh, and also in this situation, the guy was clearly concerned for his own safety, but so were the police, and probably for the same reasons. And this is why I say we don't need gun control, we need gun responsibility. If you're armed and you're dealing with the cops, the first thing you should do is disclose the fact that you're armed.
You don't want them to find out, even if you're carrying concealed. You do not want them to have to discover that you're armed.
I agree. I've never argued against that. I'm saying that he reacted too quickly.
I don't think he reacted too quickly. I think it's a normal part of human reaction. If you're expecting something different, you're expecting a reaction that isn't humanly normal.
Well, I'm not going to say
but it's not humanly normal.
I'm not going to say he reacted too quickly. I'm going to say he reacted poorly. And the reason I'm going to say he reacted poorly is because, again, you're the badge in the uniform. You're the one that's supposed to be armed and trained. At a bare minimum, the guy didn't disclose the fact that he was armed. Drawing your service weapon is one thing. But shooting without saying freeze or show me your hands, that's where I'm starting to draw a little bit of an issue. The guy acted too quickly.
I think the guy was in action mode at that point, and it's a normal part of how they're trained.
And I agree with you. And I agree with you on that.
You're not going to train them out of that. You are not going to train them out of that.
Okay, well, fair enough. But guys, we're beating a dead horse here. We've hit the 2-hour mark, so I think we're going to wrap it up. Unless you have something you really want to add that's new, because we've all three repeated ourselves 3 times. I think that's 3 strikes we're out on this topic.
No, that's fair. The only thing I will say is that just to surmise everything, just to put it in a nice, neat little package with a bow on top, as people would say, no party is at fault while both parties are simultaneously at fault. It could have been avoided. It should have been avoided. It wasn't avoided. Both parties could have done things differently. That's not the way it worked out. And guess what? As MC said, when you lived in a society where you have the right to carry a firearm, you can buy a gun, these types of things happen. It's going to happen. It's unfortunate and it's tragic that it did. But it's either that or give up your guns. So which one do you want?
All right, I'm going to let you have the final word on it, because all I was going to do is repeat myself again. All right, thank you, everybody, for coming out. I know we lost a few people along the way, but you usually do in a 2-hour show. I appreciate everybody, especially Adam. You've been here the whole damn time. Thank you, sir. And Bobby, nice to see you. All right, guys. I'm going to try and do another Red Eye this week, and I think it's going to be the review on Lower Decks. I'm going to watch the 2nd episode. So that should be coming out on Friday or Saturday. And MC, doing your morning show, right?
Yep. I'll be there tomorrow morning.
And Doku, you got a fancy new computer. You're going to start fucking putting out content on this channel? What the fuck, man?
Yeah, give me time, and when work allows me to do it, yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I'll start pulling my weight, and if that doesn't happen, at a bare minimum, check us out on Exiled Opinions Fridays and sometimes Saturdays. And if you're into nerd stuff, RPG, video games, stuff like that, check out Mildred the Monk Monastery Live. That's every Sunday. Other than that, you can find me here at random times.
Doku is a slacker. You're totally right.
Okay. Right, I am.
Good night, good luck, and fuck the Turks. Fucking bastards. Yeah, looking at you, Erdogan, fucking, I can't even pronounce your damn ass.
Erdogan.